When a tugboat sank off the coast of Nigeria in 2013, everyone on board was presumed dead. For nearly 3 days, nobody questioned that assumption. The vessel rested more than 100 feet below the surface, and recovery divers were sent in to search the wreck. They weren't looking for survivors, they were looking for bodies. Then, deep inside the darkness of the ship, one diver saw something move. A hand reached toward him, and the person attached to that hand was alive. This is the unbelievable true story of Harrison O'Keene. On the morning of May 26, 2013, Harrison was working as a cook aboard the Jascon 4 tugboat off the coast of Nigeria. Around 5 a.m., he got up and headed toward the restroom. That's when disaster struck. A powerful wave hit the vessel, causing it to roll violently. Within moments, the tugboat flipped upside down and began sinking. The lights went out. Water rushed through the ship, and Harrison suddenly found himself trapped inside a sinking vessel. As the boat descended, he desperately searched for a way out, but the ship had flipped, making it nearly impossible to navigate. Hallways were underwater. Furniture and equipment had been thrown everywhere. In total darkness, Harrison felt his way through the wreck until he found something that would save his life. An air pocket. A small section of the ship that hadn't completely flooded. Minutes later, the tugboat settled upside down on the ocean floor, roughly 100 feet below the surface. Harrison was trapped, alone, and nobody knew he was still alive. At first, he hoped rescue would come quickly, but as the hours passed, that hope began to fade. He had no phone, no light, no food, and no idea whether anyone was searching for him. The greatest danger wasn't just the water around him, it was the air. Inside the trapped air pocket, oxygen was slowly being used up while carbon dioxide levels continued to rise. Even if the water never reached him, eventually the air itself could become deadly. Harrison later said he spent much of his time praying and trying to stay calm. There wasn't much else he could do. Every hour that passed made survival seem less likely. By the third day, Harrison had been trapped for nearly 60 hours. Unknown to him, divers had finally located the wreck, but nobody expected to find a survivor. The mission was now considered a recovery operation. As divers moved through the flooded compartments, they searched for crew members who had been lost during the sinking. Then, one diver noticed movement. At first, he couldn't believe what he was seeing, because surviving inside a shipwreck for nearly 3 days should have been impossible. As the diver approached, Harrison reached out and grabbed his arm. The diver jumped back in shock. The moment was captured on video and would later be seen around the world. Against all odds, Harrison O'Keene was alive. But finding him was only half the battle, because Harrison had spent nearly 3 days under pressure at the bottom of the ocean. Bringing him directly to the surface could have been fatal. His body had adapted to the pressure surrounding the wreck. To rescue him safely, divers supplied him with breathing equipment and carefully transferred him into a pressurized chamber. Only after a lengthy decompression process could he safely return to the surface. Later, Harrison learned that he was the only survivor. 11 crew members had died in the sinking. The odds of surviving what he survived are almost impossible to imagine. An air pocket had to form. It had to last long enough. Divers had to arrive in time, and they had to discover him before conditions became fatal. If any one of those things had gone differently, this story would have ended very differently. Most people would never go near the ocean again after an experience like that. Harrison did the opposite. Years later, he became a commercial diver. The same underwater world that nearly took his life became his career. It's a remarkable ending to one of the most incredible survival stories ever recorded. A man trapped inside a shipwreck, at the bottom of the ocean for nearly 3 days, found alive by divers who were searching for the dead. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know what survival story you'd like to see next. Thanks for watching.